back. "What do you think of that?" she says. She is delighted with herself. It's as if she's drawn a picture and placed it on her own internal refrigerator door. "Neat," I say. "You have a very creative mother," she says. Instant shoulder pads. The blow-dryer continues to tick like a clock, counting down the seconds. Hot things do that. Sometimes when my father or mother comes home, I will go down and stand near the hood of the car to listen to it tick, moving my face in close to feel the heat. "Are you coming upstairs with me?" she says. She takes her cigarette from the clamshell ashtray on the back of the toilet. My mother loves frozen baked stuffed clams, and she saves the shells to use as ashtrays, stashing them around the house. I am fixated on the dryer. The vent holes on the side have hairs stuck in them, small hairs and white lint. What is lint? How does it find hair dryers and navels? "I'm coming." "Turn off the light," she says as she walks away, creating a small whoosh that smells sweet and chemical. It makes me sad because it's the smell she makes when she's leaving. "Okay," I say. The orange light from the dehumidifier that sits next to the wicker laundry hamper is looking at me, and I look back at it. Normally it would terrify me, but because my mother is here, it's okay. Except she is walking fast, has already walked halfway across the family room floor, is almost at the fireplace, will be turning around the corner and heading up the stairs, and then I will be alone in the dark bathroom with the dehumidifier eye. So I run. I run after her, certain that something is following me, chasing me, just about to catch me. I run past my mother, running up the stairs, using my legs and my hands, charging ahead on all fours. I make it to the top and look down at her. She climbs the stairs slowly, deliberately, reminding me of an actress on the way to the stage to accept her Academy Award. Her eyes are trained on me, her smile all mine. "You run up those stairs just like Cream." Cream is our dog, and we both love her. She is not my father's dog or my older brother's. She's most of all not my older brother's, since he's 16, 7 years older than I, and he lives with roommates in Sunderland a few miles away. He dropped out of high school because he said he was too smart to go, and he hates our parents, and he says he can't stand to be here, and they say they can't control him, that he's out of control, and so I almost never see him. So Cream doesn't belong to him at all. She is mine and my mother's. She loves us most, and we love her. We share her. I am just like Cream, the golden retriever my mother loves. I smile back at her. I don't want her to leave. Cream is sleeping by the door. She knows my mother is leaving, and she doesn't want her to go either. Sometimes I wrap aluminum foil around Cream's middle, around her legs and her tail, and then I walk her through the house on a leash. I like it when she's shiny, like a star, like a guest on the Donnie and Marie show. Cream opens her eyes and watches my mother, her ears twitching. Then she closes her eyes again and exhales heavily. She's 7, but in dog years that makes her 49. Cream is an old lady dog, so she's tired and just wants to sleep. In the kitchen, my mother takes her keys off the table and throws them into her leather bag. I love her bag. Inside are papers and her wallet and cigarettes, and at the bottom, where she never looks, there's loose change, loose mints, specks of tobacco from her cigarettes. Sometimes I bring the bag to my face, open it, and inhale as deeply as I can. "You'll be long asleep by the time I come home," she tells me, "so good night, and I'll see you in the morning." "Where are you going?" I ask her for the zillionth time. "I'm going to give a reading in Northampton," she tells me. "It's a poetry reading at the Broadside bookstore." My mother is a star. She's just like that lady on TV, Maud. She yells like Maud. She wears wildly colored gowns and long crocheted vests like Maud. She is just like Maud, except my mother doesn't have all those chins under her chin, all those loose expressions hanging off her face. My mother cackles when Maud is on. "I love Maud," she says. My mother is a star, like Maud. "Will you sign autographs?" She laughs. "I may sign some books." My mother is from Cairo, Georgia. This makes everything she says sound like it went through a curling iron. Other people sound flat to my ear. Their words just hang in the air, but when my mother says something, the ends curl. "Where's my father? Where is your father?" my mother says, checking her watch. It's a Timex, silver with a black leather strap. The face is small and round. There is no date. It ticks so loud that if the house is quiet, you can hear it. The house is quiet. I can hear the ticking of my mother's watch. Outside, the trees are dark and tall. They lean in toward the house. I imagine because the house is bright inside, and the trees crave the light, like bugs. We live in the woods in a glass house surrounded by trees, tall pine trees, birch trees, ironwoods. The deck extends from the house into the trees. You can stand on it and reach, and you might be able to pull a leaf off a tree or a sprig of pine. My mother is pacing. She is walking through the living room, behind the sofa, to look out the large, sliding glass door down to the driveway. She is walking around the dining room table. She straightens the cubed glass salt and pepper shakers. She is walking through the kitchen and out the other door of the kitchen. Our house is very open. The ceilings are very high. There is plenty of room here. "I need high ceilings," my mother always says. She says this now. "I need high ceilings." She looks up. There is the sound of gravel crackling beneath tires. Then, lights on the wall, spreading to the ceiling, sliding through the room like a living thing. "Finally," my mother says. My father is home. He will come inside the house, pour himself a drink, and then go downstairs and watch TV in the dark. I will have the upstairs to myself, all the windows and the walls and the entire fireplace which cuts straight through the center of the house, both floors. I will have the ice maker in the freezer, the hexagonal espresso pot my mother uses for guests, the black deck, the stereo speakers, all of this contained in so much tall space. I will have it all. I will walk around and turn lights on and off, on and off. There is a panel of switches on the wall before the hall opens up into two huge tall rooms. I will switch the spotlights on in the living room, illuminating the fireplace, the sofa. I will switch the light off and turn on the spotlights in the hallway, over the front of the door. I will run from the wall and stand in the spotlight. I will bathe in the light like a star, and I will say, "Thank you for coming tonight to my poetry reading." I will be wearing the dress my mother didn't wear. It is long, black, and 100% polyester, my favorite fabric because it flows. I will wear her dress and her shoes, and I will be her. With the spotlights aimed right at me, I will clear my throat and read a poem from her book. I will read it with her distinctive and refined Southern inflection. I will turn off all the lights in the house and go into my bedroom, close the door. My bedroom is deep blue. Bookshelves are attached to the wall with brackets on either side of my window. The shelves themselves are lined with aluminum foil. I like things shiny. My shiny bookshelves are lined with treasures. Empty cans, their labels removed, their ribbed steel skins polished with silver polish. I wish they were gold. I have rings there, rings from our trip to Mexico when I was 5. Also on the shelves, pictures of jewelry cut from magazines, glued to cardboard, and propped upright. One of the good spoons from the sterling silver my grandmother sent my parents when they were married, silver my mother hates, God awful tacky, and a small collection of nickels, dimes, and quarters, each of which has been boiled and polished with silver polish while watching Donnie and Marie or Tony, Orlando, and Dawn. I love shiny things. I love stars. Someday, I want to be a star, like my mother, like Maud. The sliding doors to my closet are covered with mirror squares I bought with my allowance. The mirrors have veins of gold streaking through them. I stuck them to the doors myself. I will aim my desk lamp into the center of the room and stand in its light, looking at myself in the mirror. "Hand me that box," I will say to my reflection. Something isn't right here. Little Boy Blue Navy Blazer. My fondness for formal wear can be traced to the womb. While pregnant with me, my mother blasted opera on her record player while she sat at the kitchen table addressing Saisies to the New Yorker. Somehow, On the deepest, most base genetic level, I understood that the massively intense music I heard through her flesh was being sung by fat people dressed in cummerbunds and enormous sequined gowns. When I was 10, my favorite outfit was a navy blazer, a white shirt, and a red clip-on tie. I felt I looked important, like a young king who had ascended the throne because his mother had been beheaded. I flatly refused to go to school if my hair was not perfect, if the light didn't fall across it in a smooth blonde sheet. I wanted my hair to look exactly like the mannequin boys at Anne August, where my mother shopped. One stray flyaway was enough to send the hairbrush into the mirror and me running from my room in tears. And if there was lint on my outfit that my mother couldn't remove with masking tape, that was a better reason to stay home than strep throat. In fact, the only day of the year I actually liked going to school was the day the school photo was taken. I loved that the photographer gave us combs as parting gifts, like on a game show. Throughout my childhood, while all the other kids were starting fights, playing ball, and getting dirty, I was in my bedroom polishing the gold-tone mood rings I made my mother buy me at Kmart and listening to Barry Manilow, Tony Orlando and Dawn, and, inexplicably, Odetta. I preferred albums to the more modern 8-tracks. Albums came with sleeves, which reminded me of clean underwear, plus the pictures were bigger, making it easier to see each follicle of Tony Orlando's shiny arm hair. I would have been an excellent member of the Brady Bunch. I would have been Sean, the well-behaved blonde boy who caused no trouble and helped Alice in the kitchen, then trimmed the split ends off Marcia's hair. I would have not only washed Tiger, but then conditioned his fur. And I would have cautioned Jan against that tacky bracelet that caused the girls to lose the House of Cards building contest. My mother chain-smoked and wrote confessional poetry around the clock, taking breaks during the day to call her friends and read drafts of her latest poem. Occasionally she would ask for my opinion. Augustine, I've been working on what I believe could be the poem that finally makes it into the New Yorker. I believe it could make me a very famous woman. Would you like to hear it? I turned away from the mirror on my closet door and set the hairbrush on my desk. I loved the New Yorker because it featured cartoons and ads. Maybe my mother would get her poem published right next to an ad for a Mercury Grand Marquis. Read it, read it, read it, I bounced. She led me into her study, took a seat at her desk, and turned off her white Olympia typewriter. Then she quickly checked the cap on her bottle of whiteout before clearing her throat and lighting a Moore cigarette. I sat on the twin bed she had converted into a sofa with throw pillows and an Indian bedspread. Ready, she asked. Okay. She crossed her legs, resting the side of her wrist on her knee as she leaned forward and read from the page. Childhood is over. My youth and bonds with people I have loved are broken now. My grief ascends into the clouds, and those tears that fall from the sky build the land anew. Even the dead climb from their graves to walk with me and sing, and I... She read for many pages, her voice perfectly modulated. She practiced reading her poems out loud into a microphone that she kept in the corner of the room on a stand. Sometimes, when she was visiting her friend Lydia, or in the living room trimming her spider plants, I would borrow the microphone and stuff it down the front of my pants, examining myself from every angle in the mirror. When she was finished reading her poem, she looked up at me and said, Okay, now I need your honest reaction. Did that feel powerful to you? Emotionally charged? I knew that the only correct answer to this question was, Wow, that really does seem like something you'd read in the New Yorker. She laughed, pleased. Really? Do you really think so? The New Yorker is very selective. They don't publish just anyone. She stood and began to pace in front of her desk. No, I really think they would publish this. All the stuff about your mother pushing you backwards into the heart-shaped goldfish pond in the backyard, the thing with your paralyzed sister, that was great. She lit another cigarette and inhaled deeply. Well, we'll see. I just got a rejection letter from the Virginia Quarterly, so that worries me. Of course, if the New Yorker did accept this poem, your grandmother would see it. I can't imagine what she would say, but I can't let her reaction stop me from publishing. Then she stopped pacing, placed one hand on her hip, and brought the other one holding the cigarette to her lips. You know, Augustine, your mother was meant to be a very famous woman. I know, I said. The idea that someday we might have our own stretch limousine parked in